a very long time, you know.
Oh,
Some of them
really?
waiting, of course, some of them were waiting for more than an hour.
My
That's a long
goodness.
time. Yes,
I am
man.
so sorry. Well, I was told to come on at 4, so I made sure I'm here on time. I try.
Okay, good, good. And
Wonderful.
one of my viewers said, Mr. Lonesome, make sure you ask him the question, you know. But my could just the first of all, the first thing we
Uh-huh.
want to ask you, right? The condition of
Yes.
the country, the state of the country, and the corruption and the government out of angling the crisis.
Yes, yes. We have never been we have never been at a lower level in our country than we are now. We have a government that has completely lost touch with reality. They do not understand even the people that they're trying to govern. They lock down the economies in ways that it should never have been, which has destroyed small businesses. They have crippled our students by keeping them out of school for 2 years, which is contrary to the science. And they have just gone on a rampage to try and force the Jamaican people to take into their bodies a product they may not want to take. And so it has been a dismal performance by this government. And the truth is, all governments prior to this have been poor, but this is absolutely the poorest.
Wow, can imagine. All right.
Yes.
What to think about the crisis, the COVID crisis, and the handling of the COVID crisis, especially from the Ministry of Health?
Yes. Well, when this thing just started almost 2 years ago, I wrote an immediate piece for the purpose of helping our Prime Minister make good decisions. I told him not to treat this as a political matter, but to treat this as a national health emergency tantamount to war. So when you're having a war, you don't want to politicize it. You want to make sure you create an environment which is first, be objective. Second, be transparent. And third, be inclusive. What I advised the Prime Minister to do was to create a public emergency council where you bring the heads of all of the political parties together, civil society group leaders together, the health experts together, the scientists together, and have them around one table. And what you're going to do is to make sure you give them all the same objective information as to what we know, what we don't know, and what assumptions we're making. And then collectively, you make decisions about how you're going to protect the lives and livelihoods of the Jamaican people. What this would do, it would ensure that the Jamaican people see that this is no longer about politics. This is about protecting the interest of Jamaica. Because you're being inclusive and transparent and objective, you can then take measures which are balanced and fair, reasonable and equitable that represents the conditions of the Jamaican people. For example, telling kids to go home and do online learning when most do not have proper electricity, most do not have access to the internet, or even if they have access, they don't have the money to buy the data. Most of their parents are hustlers, meaning they're not home to supervise them. And many of our children have already been exposed to pedophilia and other forms of abuses. So you don't build policies that are absent from the reality of the nation. You build policies based on the realities of the nation. Secondarily, locking down poor people who live hand to mouth, who don't have online banking and have access to all kind of online solution and getting their pays deposited into their account. Having persons, having our people locked down and treating them like they're first world citizens in Canada or the US or England is tantamount to treason. It means you truly don't understand the nation you're governing. And so when they did that and crippled the small man economy and pushed more and more of our people to the margin, you are by extension inviting crime and violence and depression upon the nation. And that's exactly what we have seen. 2 years ago, I wrote to the Prime Minister saying this would have been the outcome of a politicized approach to the problem. And let's instead have a inclusive, transparent, and objective approach to it instead. But he didn't listen.
Didn't listen. All right. So
No.
and the other thing about crime now, what do you think with the crime and the crime management, and what do you think them
Mhm.
can do better for this
Sure.
country?
So for years now, Jamaica has been struggling with the crime problem. One of the things we have to understand, you see, is if we're going to fix a problem, let's make sure we first understand the problem. You cannot design a solution that is not cognizant of what the real problem is. Now, Jamaica's crime problem is not bottom up, it is top down. So you sending police to go block roads and scrape up the young men them and throw them in jail, and that's not going to solve the problem, because what we have is that it's not the boys on the corner who organize the importations of the guns. It's not them who have the connection to make sure the guns and ammunition comes across our border. It's not them who make a call and give protection to a gang leader. It's not them who established the garrison communities. It's not them who gave political contracts to the gang leaders. It's not them who are covering for criminals. It's not them who made the appointments in the police upper echelons based on political appointments and based on preserving the structures of criminality in Jamaica. So if we're going to tackle crime, the Jamaican people now, we can't ask those who create the problem, and that's what we've been doing. We've been asking these two parties that created this, they're the master of this problem, and we're asking them to fix it. So we Jamaicans, if we want to fix the crime problem, we must get rid of the two people, the two organizations that are the biggest crime syndicate in the country that's controlling our government. We must approach this from the top down. Let's replace them with an objective, untainted political movement, and let that movement now have the confidence of the people, which they don't have now, have the confidence of the people to carry out the reforms necessary. And that begin with a purge from the top, followed by a number of other measures. For example, you cannot have an education system which continues to fail 70% of our students every year and expect to have a society of civilized, well-governed, well-managed, disciplined people. So we have to fix our education system. You can't have the family continuing to be failing. So we have to re-educate our parents and get them on board. You cannot have an economy where a few controls the levels of powers and keep the majority impoverished, underpaid, and underdeveloped. So you have to fix things from comprehensive angles: economy, education, the political process, which is why the UIC wants to change the political system itself. It's a system problem that permeates the rest of our society, and we must approach crime from top down, because the biggest criminals are in our boardrooms and in our parliaments.
That's true. So with corruption now, if UIC form the next government, what the first thing you're going to look at to start fix all these problems?
Wonderful, good question. We know that the first thing we have to fix in the new UIC administration is the system of governance. And I'll tell you why. The current system is designed to concentrate power in the office of the Prime Minister, and by extension, in the hands of those who are the leaders of the political parties, and more importantly, those who fund the political parties. So what many Jamaicans don't realize, that no political party exists in a vacuum. The two major political parties for the entire 77 years that they have been in power are funded by the private sector organization of Jamaica. So all the vote buying and all the corruption you see is funded by the private sector organization of Jamaica, the big companies that control that cartel. So they're the ones that are actually running this country. So when you elect one of the two major parties, what you're electing is the same body, the same group behind the scene that is directing the policies and regulations that we have in Jamaica. So it's very important for us as Jamaicans now to step back and say, hold on, something wrong here, sir. The UIC is a grassroots political party. We will not be taking funding from the private sector organization of Jamaica or any other big money player who wants to control the agenda. This agenda is the people's agenda. And so the UIC is going to be the people's party that focuses on the interests of the people. And what the people want? They want a safe Jamaica. They want a clean Jamaica. They want an orderly Jamaica. They want a corruption-free Jamaica.
Corruption-free. So UIC will go the distance of make sure all these people who were in office, say you take over, right?
Yes.
You're going to audit them and make sure you carry them to books.
Absolutely. It's gonna be every single politician that have served in recent history and present will
Yeah.
be investigated, which means you have to give an account. And even us who are coming in, the new, myself and the others, you have to give an account for the source of your income, the source of your assets, and we're going to do a forensic audit to fully understand how you come by what you have. So, for example, we currently have a prime minister who is fairly young, but
Yeah.
he has a tremendous amount of assets, which is not consistent with the conditions of most young men his age. And so we have to find out what is the disparity here. How come amass all of this? And maybe it's all legitimate. Maybe we can see that he's a brilliant business person, and we can see the businesses. Right now, we can't see it. We don't know where it is. It's not transparent for us, but let's make it transparent. Let's see how it is, why it is. We want to understand why it is that as soon as people get into politics, that's when their economy take off. That's when they get wealthy. That's when they can build the biggest house and buy the best car and have the best to send their kids off to foreign to school. Why is it that politics is the primary avenue of wealth creations for individuals in this country? We need to get to the bottom of that. So we must do a forensic audit on all of them. And if we find anything inconsistent with what would be good behavior, then those persons must pay the price in jail time.
Thank you. And next thing again, I have a view about the commissioner and the politics and the politician and the government. My view was, I don't know, I'm going to put it to you, right? My view was, it's time for Jamaicans to start choose a commissioner and the ballot box. So we want to see his resume. So every 4 years, him not doing good, we can move him and separate him. What is your view on that? Separate him from the
Right.
politics.
Yeah. Well, here's the way the UIC's system of governance solves that problem. Is in the current system, persons are appointed by the prime minister with very little or no checks and balances. That's the current system. In the UIC system, which will be a republic, including a president that is elected by the people, the executive branch of government will, for the first time in the history of Jamaica, be separated from the legislative and judicial branch of government. Now, what will happen when we do that? When we're appointing persons to, let's say, ministerial position or commissioner position or high court position, the executive branch will make a nomination. That's all. It now must come to the Senate, which will, in our case, now will be an elected Senate. Right now, it's an appointed Senate, which means all kind of willy-nilly go on.
Yes.
But in the UIC, and letter signing, we know what I talk about. So on the UIC system, we're going to have elected senators, 14 of them elected, one per parish, instead of 21 rubber stampers that are appointed by party leaders. Now, what will happen is the executive branch would nominate a commissioner and say, here's a person that we think has the credentials, the experience, and competences to hold this office. Then the Senate now would publicly vet him. So he will be brought in front of the nation, in front of the Senate, and they will question him, look at his resume, look at his accomplishments, look at his competencies. And then, having debated that and having interviewed him publicly, the Senate would make a recommendation to the House. Now, the House, because of our new system, would be independent of the executive. Remember, so right now it's not independent. Right now it mix up, and the prime minister can manipulate it. But in the UIC system, the House will be separate. So the Senate will now say, we recommend that you elect this commissioner, or we do not recommend. The House will then vote yes or no to approve this person. Now, what this does, it means now the president or the executive branch don't have a lock on this person, because even though they nominate them, it's the Senate and House that appoints based on a transparent process. And then the leader now, the president, can't remove that commissioner unless he goes back and make a request to the Senate, and the Senate investigate why you want to remove him. And then, or he might want to continue the term of the commissioner. And again, he has to go back to the Senate and ask permission to extend the term. And you have a review process, transparent, and then a decision by the House. So this will accomplish what you're talking about. Make it more efficient, though, because you see, in politics, when you have the general vote, that can be manipulated too, right? You might have a person who is charismatic. So he's charismatic. And because he's charismatic, we elect him. But with this process, what we do now, all the ministerial position, all the public bodies commission, like a commissioner, and the judiciary goes through this process, which gives us transparency and allow the public to see that proper due diligence has been followed before we end up with a person in this position or any similar positions.
Okay, good. Somebody just talking about the ganja. Yeah?
Yes.
The ganja and the industry. You remember Peter Touch used to say bonnet in a Buckingham Palace, and them said to legalize it and then beat him, then mash him up. Them do a lot of get up people wrong over this herb. From 1930, in the early 30s, from that senator in US, say it's gonna mad you and everything, you know, it is a widespread ban right across the place. We know the history of it. What the UIC would do to help these small farmers who for decades go through all these things, for them kids get locked up, get jail time, do all kind of things. But I noticed the government remove all these things, make it illegal, still want to lock them up, and then put it in them hand, in the manner. The US will do different to make
I can answer that in a very quick and easy answer for you. We will completely and unequivocally allow ganja to be just as legal as any other plant in the country, which means we're going to remove the barriers to entry, which now is designed by the government to give big men, the rich, control of the ganja industry while continuing to oppress and suppress the small man. We're going to remove all the regulations that are making it problematic for the small man to access, grow, process, and sell ganja at will. Okay? So it's going to be free and open for persons to do what they want to do with the product. No more restrictions, of course, except on you can't sell these things to children, right? Unless they're properly vetted by the Bureau of Standard. But the key thing is we're going to free up ganja, completely free up ganja, and allow Jamaica to become the center for high-grade ganja being exported around the world, and allow the ordinary Jamaican to be a part of that economy and fully participate in that economy and reap the benefits of it. What the government has done, both parties, they continue to play tricks on the Jamaican people, telling you that they're doing one thing when in fact they're doing something else. They tell you they're freeing up. They're not freeing up. What they're doing is they're freeing up for their friends and company and themselves to be able to take advantage of in this case, the ganja, while at the same time continuing to lock out the small man and oppress the small man. They're a very oppressive bunch, you know. Every one of their policies and regulations are designed to oppress and frustrate the Jamaican people while giving a small minority access and control over the economy.
Because when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
When them charge $10,000, most of these little young farmers, these farmers, them don't even have a bank account.
Exactly.
They don't have that money. 1.5 million you're talking, you know. Them are talking US.
Man.
1.55 million, and these people don't even have them, don't even see quarter this thing, and then you police still
plus the paperwork. Plus the paperwork. And what happened? What they use to stifle the Jamaican people, they make sure that they're poorly educated, they make sure that they're poor, and then they put high cost and high regulations, meaning whole heap of paperwork and whole heap of things you have to do. So the more they frustrate the people, they push the people out of the formal economy and make the formal economy something that's only accessible to people like myself, who is highly educated and you know, financially stable. So those people can go in and take full advantage of whatever is there, and then they lock out the others. And what they do now, the others now, they want the rest of the people now to be our employees, right? They must just be available to be employed at minimum wage, right? Keep them at minimum wage, keep them poor, keep them ignorant, and keep them locked out of the system, so that the 5% can control 90% of the wealth in this country.
And this bad. It's very bad.
That's the goal.
All right. We
But
see a lot of ministers now going
yeah.
around, and a lot of money going missing and all over. What the UIC will do different with
From
it? Yeah, from now, this government now, like you have some minister, you hear this money and this misappropriate use of funds and all kind of thing, but the UIC will do different. And
so
about this one, because we can't let them go, you know. We're not let them go,
man.
you know. Somebody have to pay.
No, yeah. So we talked earlier on about that we're gonna go back and do the forensic accounting and deal with them. But in terms of going forward, the UIC system of governance is smart. What we have done, you want to separate ministries from politicians. Okay? So the purpose of a politician, which they have misled us, the purpose of let's say, a MP or a councillor or a senator is to focus on representation. They must have no access to taxpayers' money to spend as they see fit. None at all. They should not be given any role in contracts awarding. They should not have any role in distributing monies or goods within communities. Their role must be to represent. And the executive branch now comes to the parliament and presents a plan, presents a budget, and then that budget is approved by the Senate and the House. And then the Senate and the House now monitor to see whether or not the plans as laid out before the House and the Senate is being carried out properly in their respective constituencies, and then they hold them to account by raising a red flag if something look untoward and calling in the auditor general or the contractor general and making sure that we investigate. But the way we have it now, my friends, is we have a system where you don't have clarity between the executive branch and the legislative, because your MP is also a minister, and your senator is also a minister, and the prime minister is also an MP. And you have all of this convoluted thing now, which causes them not to want to talk on each other. Because just imagine this, if you're a JLP MP right now, and you say something bad about the prime minister, you're not getting a ministerial position, okay, or state position.
Yes.
So you're going to lose, you lose two things. You're going to lose a higher salary, and you're going to lose an opportunity to get involved in corruption to enrich yourself. So if you are also a senator that's appointed, by the way, the prime minister get to appoint the majority of senators, 13 out of the 21. If you're a senator, if you talk bad about the prime minister, it means he may not appoint you to a ministerial position. So again, you get no lower income and less, in fact, no opportunities to engage in corruption. So the system we have today is designed to cause corruption. The UIC has a different system now, which is designed to prevent corruption.
Yeah, so this design to keep the Jamaica people in bondage.
Absolutely. Our colonial masters were smart.
Mean, what you just explain to the people, them, right, is they put party first, not the country.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we can even say it this way: they put corruption first.
Corruption.
Because the purpose of the party. Yeah, the party, what happened is the party is simply a gang. It's a gang for you to achieve your objective. So it's not even the party they're putting first. What the party is a vehicle. So remember, the party is funded by the PSOJ, the big companies. So the big banks, the big insurance companies, they're the ones funding the party. So for example, the UIC, in the next election, the UIC will get $0 from the private sector organization. Both parties will get billions. So when they go out into the community, they will have billions from the private sector organization to go and win votes and buy votes and so on. So they can communicate better, they can communicate faster, they can communicate more flashier than the UIC, which is why the UIC appeals to the people, the grassroots people. So you have to join the party, donate to the party, volunteer, and vote for the party. Because if you think we're going to have the money to spend like them, you make a sad mistake, because we won't have it, because they're heavily funded by the private sector. Now, what does this mean? After they trick us and we vote for them, they're going there to work for the private sector organization of Jamaica. That's what they're going there to work for, you know. So every law, every regulation, every taxation, every decision is designed to protect the interest of the wealthy and powerful in this country at the expense of the majority, even if the majority thought that they had the right to vote, because all they had was the right to vote, and their vote simply authenticates the parties in power. It doesn't protect the interest of the people who are voting.
Okay, so someone asked him now, Wayne, what is the view on Jamaica becoming a republic? That's Blade Brown.
Now you're talking my language. So the UIC is built on the principle of Jamaica becoming a republic. That is our goal, to make Jamaica a republic. But here's the trick. You can have a fake republic or a real republic. So what they did in Barbados recently was a fake republic. What they did in Trinidad, when Trinidad became a republic, was a fake republic. And what they did in Guyana was a fake republic. And even the United States of America, which is the closest thing you have to a true republic, is a fake republic. So the UIC wants to make Jamaica a true republic. So we want to make Jamaica a non-partisan, constitutional republic. And what does this mean? It begins with the principle. This is very important. The principle that you are sovereign. A true republic is one that respects every citizen as a true sovereign individual, which means the purpose of government now is to protect your sovereignty. You see how you have a sovereign country and the government is supposed to protect the sovereignty of that country, which Jamaica did not do. Jamaica is not a sovereign country because we sold ourselves out. We have given away the rights to everything in our country almost. So you'll find foreigner control our highway, foreigner control with bauxite, foreigner control with sugar. So we have given up our sovereignty as a nation. But what the UIC is saying, we want to repair that, but you must begin by respecting the sovereignty of the individual. So a true republic is one that protects your right to your life, your liberty, and your property, which means if we were a true republic today, the government could not be doing what they're doing now about shutting you down and taking away your freedom of speech, your freedom of movement, and your freedom of choice, because that would be anathema. That would not be acceptable. So your rights would be protected, and the government now would have to deal with you on a basis where it respects you. So in this particular COVID thing, it would have been an objective approach like I described, an inclusive approach, a transparent approach, where the government now educates you and supports you in making good decisions for yourself and your family.
Okay, good. And next friend asks, will you ever say in the local election? You're going to put up some candidates and you're going to run for the... Yes, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to have 228 candidates. It's a huge task because you have to vet all of these people, and some of them, may not have the skills or the competencies that you need. So we have been busy going all 14 parishes and encouraging persons within the community. The UIC is very different. We do not take somebody and drop in a constituency, say run this up. What we do, we go to the constituency and get the people to give us the person that they want to run for them. And so we build from the grassroots up. And that's what makes us a grassroots movement. We want the candidate to be somebody who lived there, who understand the problem, who have felt the pain, and who know why they need to fix the things they need to fix for the people in that constituency.
Oh, they want to know, they want to know about you. I need a platform about the manifesto about election financing reform.
Oh.
Yes.
They want to know about
the financing reform. Election financing reform.
Right. So we have if you look at our website, uicjamaica.com, you will see that we have a manifesto that outlines a number of things. One of them is election reform when it comes on to the system of governance. So our system that we're proposing will make elections 100% publicly funded. Right now they're not publicly funded. They are instead right now funded by the private sector primarily
Mhm.
giving. So our system now will be 100% public. And how does that work? We're not going to fund political parties. We're going to give every single candidate equal access. So what they'll get is equal access to the microphone in the town hall meeting, equal access online, equal access on radio, equal access on TV. And that way they don't have to find a whole heap of money in order for them to participate in the election. So we're going to democratize the process so that the poorest of person who the community wants to represent them can stand an equal chance with the richest of person, because there'll be no more private funding. Instead, you'll have equal access to the constituents on radio, television, town hall meetings, and then the people get to vote for who they want. So our system eliminates the vote buying, it eliminates the massive expenditures, and it focuses on policies instead of political parties.
So tell me something. The vote buying, that is a piece of thing where it will move against hard.
Yes.
You would make that an offense for any politician who send out his or her delegate or who working
Yes.
for him to buy vote.
It would be
That's
illegal.
a jail
It,
time.
it would be, in fact, right now it's illegal, but the laws are not designed to be successful. So we're going to make sure the laws are designed to make it a serious offense, punishable by not only jail time but forfeiture of assets. And but the way to make this work, though, is the way that I've prescribed earlier on. Let's make the campaign financing 100% public, so you completely eliminate private funds. And by changing the system, so here's the system, right? The new system, let's say you want to run. You come up and you say, I want to run. You have to pass a good governance exam to show that you understand where you want to run for, right? Then you go around into your community and you secure a number of signatures from the people saying, yes, they think you are suitable to run. Once you qualify through this qualification method, you get equal access to radio, television, internet, and town hall meetings and debates, right? So you get the full access like anybody else. So now, let's say you're a poor boy. You went, you went to school, you did whatever, and you're a hard worker, but you don't have the money. You're a poor man. This system now gives you the same kind of access as somebody who was the son of a butch steward who have a whole heap of money and could come and buy everything. This now said, no, you can't buy everything. You go through the same process. You get the same access to town hall, the same access to radio, the same access to TV, the same access to internet, and the same access to the debate. So you put the rich man now and the poor man on the same level. And the difference now will be what policies are they enunciating and how effective are they at communicating, and then the people decide. That is the UIC system that will eliminate all the vote buying problem we're talking about and give Jamaicans a truly representational political system.
Okay, so you're me sweet. Him asks, how can we believe you will not do as Andrew has done? Promises.
Very good question, and there are a number of persons who think like that, and I have a simple answer for my fellow Jamaicans. Here's the answer. Before you today, you have three options. Option number one is you vote for one of the two parties that has been fooling you and tricking you for 77 years and have failed you. So that's option number one. Vote for what currently exists, and you know you're going to very likely get the same outcome because now you have 77 years of data, right? That's option number one. Option number two, do like 63% of the Jamaican people and just stop voting. So me give up. Me now vote again. That's option number two. Option number two gives you option number one, meaning they will still win and you'll get the same outcome you have gotten for 77 years. So that's option one and two. Option number three, you vote, you join, you donate, you volunteer, and you vote for the UIC and make sure we win. And what that does is give you a 50-50 chance of something better. Which of those options make sense to you? You're not sure, you're not sure so the UIC going to better. But you're sure option one and two give you the same thing you always have. And option three gives you a chance of something else. You choose which one better. There's nothing me can tell you that will make you 100% sure that the UIC will be better. Nothing I can tell you. In fact, I'll be lying to you if I tell you there's a surefire way that you're going to get the best. No, I know I'm going to do better. But here are your options. One, do the same thing you have been doing before. Same result. Option two, drop out of the system altogether. Same result. Option three, give the UIC a chance and see what they come with. I think the answer is very simple. What do you think?
Simple. It's simple.
Yeah.
Because it don't make any sense. You're doing the same thing. You're dropping over a precipice all the time, and it just get worse and worse. And maybe you catch on a tree branch. Next time it break off with you, you're going down. You can't even return. You don't even no return. So I bet you need a different option. It's
try
simple.
something else. And I want to tell you this too. Look at it. Look at what I am doing now. If you look at me good. You think it would be difficult for me to have joined the GLP or the PNP and become one of their candidates and get into the system and get the thief your money too? Would that have been easy for me? Of course.
It would be easy. Yes, it would be
for
easy.
Me. They both of them came to me. They want somebody like me. Them don't want an intelligent person to oppose them. They want people like me. That's why they grab people like Andre Ortney. Remember that young, nice economist, young man out there just quickly grab him?
Yes.
Man. And that's why they grab a Damian Crawford and they grab Alisa Anna. They grab these people and turn them into one of them. You see me?
Okay.
So that when they bring you in, because once you go in, once you join the gang, once you join the club, you become tainted for life. Nobody can trust you again because you have joined one of the club. That is why I have never joined either of them, because as a young man, I said to my mother, I said, Mommy, this not look right. All Mr. Them do is a tear with people apart, divide the people, and help the colonial masters to conquer them. So I did not vote for either the JLP or the PNP. I remained neutral while studying the system. And then I said to myself, it is unfair that I don't have a vote in this country. I can't vote for any of them. So what I did was to give myself and every Jamaican an option by creating the UIC as an alternative.
This is a people party.
This is a people party.
This is a community party.
Community party. It has no big money coming from anywhere. Every dollar that is spent is people going online.
And the leader can be reached.
And the leader can be reached easily.
Good. It's not going to be like that's why the person just asked me with Andrew, you take off your shoes and you cross the river and you're all right. When you win now, when you go to Jamaica house, you say, cannot see you.
Yes, exactly.
That you're a voter, You cannot see you. Them take all people out of them bed. Some of these people end up die because of COVID.
Yes.
Right? Just to get a vote. But now you can't see nobody again. And then for see you, the amount of police and everything, are the government. So UIC, we're not going to be a government. If you say you go in, so you win and form the government. Yes. You're not going to be a first world government in a third world country like this government do.
Yeah, absolutely not. We're going to make Jamaica a first class country. You see, there are some basic things you need in Jamaica now. And a government is not a government if it can't keep its people safe. And for 77 years, they have gradually made us less and less safe, burglar bars and everything. So the UIC is going to make sure we have a safe Jamaica, a clean Jamaica, an orderly Jamaica, because these are the foundation, the basic environment you need in order for people to succeed. If you can't feel safe to plan and organize your life and your business, not nag up. That is why our brightest people, as soon as they get a chance to leave Jamaica, they want a better standard of living. They don't want to live in fear for the rest of their lives. They don't want to be dropping into pothole every minute they drive out of their house. They don't want to feel insecure. They don't want a dirty place. And so they migrate and we lose our best and brightest. The UIC will reverse that. Let's make Jamaica pretty from north to south and east to west. We can make the entire island look like a tourist destination, not just a piece of Negrilla or a piece of Ochi or a piece of Montego Bay.
Look like a real country.
A real country. Yes. Like you ever go to some nice communities in Florida yet? Lovely gated communities. Someone want the entire Jamaica for look. The entire Jamaica. The
Mhm.
entire Jamaica. So what that's going to do now, we can stop having the all-inclusive hotels as the place where all the tourist dollar is spent. Because we fix up the entire country and make it beautiful and attractive for we the people, respect we the people, then now the tourists will come out into the rest of the community and stay
Mm.
in our homes and our communities, and the tourist dollar will spread. Two levels. One, if we do that, if we make the entire country safe and pretty and beautiful, you're going to double your tourist arrival, triple your tourist arrival, quadruple, because now them can go everywhere. You understand me? So them all over
Yes.
the country, and you don't make it inclusive anymore. You are all inclusive anymore. That can still be there enough for some who want it. But what you do now, you open it up to the ordinary Jamaican man and woman. So the ordinary Jamaican now, I get a 200, 300 US a day or a week, or a 5,000 for the month US now, because now him can open him home, him backyard can open, they can sit down and roast a fish and roast a breadfruit and eat some roast yam right the center of the community because now the place is safe, it's clean, it's attractive, and we can have tourists all the way through. That's the kind of vision we need for this country. But what they have done is design a country that always give a few people control over a segment of the economy, and then them get to run it. So the Butch Stewarts of the world who get to, and the Spanish come in and them control all inclusive, and the rest of the country is dirty and nasty. We have to stop that. Let's respect the people of Jamaica and give every Jamaican a safe environment with proper sidewalk and street light and manicured lawns and flowers and trees being trimmed and properly kept, so that all of we can feel good about ourselves when we leave out of our house, and we can then now be able to work more productively and efficiently, and also welcome more tourists in our community tourism product.
So we need back something now. So UIC plans on job creation and get
Mhm.
these young guys, on the corner who want some work, get them back out, in
Yes.
society and work and create something. And about that one, and the next thing about the money that we spend, the import
Mm.
of
Mhm.
goods,
Mhm.
especially
Mhm. Mhm.
food, where we can
Yes.
grow ourselves and cut off the $1 billion US $1 billion worth of
Yes.
imported goods. Because
Yes.
I feel every hotel should buy Jamaica, buy Jamaican
Mhm.
food
Mhm. Mhm.
in
Mhm.
those
Yes.
hotels. You
Yes.
can't have a hotel in this country and then you have to import over $1 billion worth of things in the
Mhm.
country. What people can
Yes.
grow. We have
Yeah.
sunlight, we have water, we have land. What you will do
Mhm.
to that?
Well, very simple. If you notice what I said earlier on about changing the environment, you see what we have done, what they have done. They have killed every industry. You notice they kill banana, they kill
Mm,
cocoa, they kill coffee, they kill sugar. It's all because of government policies why those industries are dead, right? So
yep.
what we want to do now is to reverse those bad policies that bring back cocoa, bring back coffee, bring back sugar, bring back banana, bring back organic farming, as
Mm,
opposed to the high intensified what they call it now, pesticides and herbicides that kills
oh,
the actual
mm,
ground and causes cancer. So we want to make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world. Now, when we do that, you're talking about jobs galore. You're talking about jobs in water harvesting. You're talking about jobs in alternative energy. You're talking about jobs in the whole organic farming, using aquaponics, using vertical farms, using greenhouse farming, using permaculture. So we have a whole host of things that will now create jobs. So we have two jobs program. One is the YES program, the Youth Employment Solution, where every single child who finish high school immediately goes into an apprenticeship program where they're paid if they're not going to university or college. So they go right into that program. So they leave school and they go into a job immediately. So they whatever the job is, whether the job is in the firefighting, police,
mhm.
soldier, industry, trade, whatever it is, we get them in there by design. By design, right? So get
Yes.
our kids in a program, apprentice and paid. For the adults now, those who have already passed through the system and the system mashed them up, who have what we call work fear instead of welfare. We don't believe in giving people free money. What we want is to put those adults now that are sitting on the corner you're talking about and so on, now to get a job similar to the young people them, and they're getting work fear where they're now building their
Mhm.
skills and getting paid in the process and pushed on. Now, because of the organic farming solution we're talking about, and the water harvesting and the alternative energy, that alone will create more than 500,000 jobs across the country. That solves our jobs problem. And what is key about this? If we do proper water harvesting and make Jamaica water secure, we'll now be exporting water en masse, because we're now going to have water catchment facilities integrated across all 14 parishes. So no more water pressure problem, no more lack of water in communities, and also now we're going to harvest the excess and export that. That's water. Alternative energy. We have geothermal, which is the differential between the sea and the land and getting that coming. We have biogas, which is the huge amount of biodiversity we have, turn that into methane gas. We have solar galore, 12 months a year we have good solar, and we have wind and we have hydro. If we network those in a whole co-combination system, we'll be able to effectively make Jamaica energy independent and bring down the cost of manufacturing, which then increases our ability to export, right? One of the reasons why Jamaica is a poor exporting nation is because our energy cost is too high, so we can't compete. The second thing is that our security cost of doing business in Jamaica is too high. So we have to fix our police force, make it a police service, push it into the community as community policing, integrate it with the school and the family, and then bring down the crime rate, and by having the job functions as well. With all of that together now, your cost of doing business go down, security costs go down, your energy costs go down, which is the cost of business goes down. And on top of that, because you're moving your children straight into the workforce, into apprenticeship, your labor cost goes down by having greater labor involvement, and their earnings go up because of our export, which solves the problem you identified earlier. Why aren't we exporting? We're not exporting because Jamaica continues to decline in productivity. Every time you see the dollar drop, when you see the drop in the dollar is an indication of our productivity declining. So this method that I just described to you is going to increase our productivity, which will then now correct the dollar imbalance and bring our dollar back to a stable level and a much higher level than it is now.
Okay, good. A lot of people asking a lot of questions, and I'm just running through a couple of them.
Yeah.
Right? Before I run through that, the housing problem, because the other day them build a tower with
NHT money.
NHS money. And the Prime Minister come and said, well, you have market for everybody. Remember, you have other people deal with those stuff already.
Yes.
The National Housing Trust, I think it did, them create that back in the days. So even people who do crash program could have owned a home. But move up zinc fence and everything. What you would do to make sure it don't go back to the rich and wealthy like that.
Yes.
And then
So
4 weeks in a house, cannot get a house. Doctors and nurses cannot give them an $8 million house.
Exactly.
Come together to get the loan for one. What you will do different for correct these things.
So first of all, you hit the nail on the head when you identified that the Prime Minister is actually encouraging slackness. Think about it. The NHT, the National Housing Trust, is a trust fund. A trust fund comes with specifics about how the fund should be operated. And over the years, both of these two parties have been raiding this trust fund because it's a very wealthy fund. It's forced savings, where they take this money by force from the Jamaican people through their earnings. So poor people pay it, right? Anybody who have a job, work a Mothers or work a Juicy Beef or whatever, once they get a paycheck, this money is being taken out, right? Now this money goes into this trust fund, which you then borrow your own money to build your house and pay back with interest, right? And what they have done is set the requirements so that only 25% of the 100% of contributors. So 75 out of every 100 will never get a house. So only 25% have been getting a so-called benefit. And who is this 25? It is those who are the richer group, or who, so the higher up you can find yourself. So let's say you're a rich person in Jamaica. You can have your 5 children in your company. Let them pay the little NHT amount, and then you now can use your 5 children to buy 5 big house. You follow me? Because you're
Yes.
rich now, they will meet the requirements. You understand? Because the requirements are
Yes.
made very high. Now, what we would have done is to correct that and bring the requirements back down to 100% of contributors can actually benefit.
Get
So our
all of
plan,
them.
so our policy actually will do away with the NHT and
Yes.
move to a system where every Jamaican becomes a property owner. What do I mean by that? When
Yes.
they ended slavery, they never gave the Jamaican people what was their entitlement. The lands were taken by the crown and they were called crown lands. So, in other words, they have robbed the Jamaican people all this time of their own land by making us landless and we have to go and buy land. We are going to correct that by making every Jamaican entitled to property. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to go on a housing program that will allow everyone to get a home and a generational mortgage that's affordable based on their economic status today, right? So some will be in a better status economically, so they will have a different mortgage to suit their situation, and some will be poorer. But we're going to use a Singaporean model, which successfully gave the Singaporean people a 92% home ownership rate. We're going to improve on the Singaporean model and get Jamaica to a 98% home ownership. So no more, what they call them now, ghettos, no more
Yes.
garrison communities, and no more
Yes.
squatter communities. We're going to erase, bulldoze, get rid of all of those squatter communities, ghettos, and what you're going to now have. You see those quality high rises in a building, which they've made overpriced. We're now going to
Yes.
make those priced so that every Jamaican can own a unit, whether it's a condo unit or a separate unit, depending on where the demographics put us. But I
Yes.
want to point out something very important. We cannot afford the urban sprawl that the current government is doing, where they're just taking up farmlands and building all whole heap of houses on it.
Yeah,
We're
because we
going
think we should go up. Because
exactly
we do
up,
that. Jamaica
up.
is a small place, so you cannot just
Exactly,
you're
exactly.
sprawling out. Because I don't know who doing this, but we
Mad
say no,
people.
we reach a time now, and
Yeah,
the population you know say okay, the best thing
exactly.
is to go up,
Go
right?
up. So
Yes.
we're gonna follow the Singaporean model. The Singapore's
Mhm.
listen. Singapore is a great model because they got independence in 1965. We got independence 1962,
1962, yes.
and in during the same period, the first 25 years, they moved from 550 US per person in terms of GDP per capita to over 65,000 per person. We in Jamaica moved from the same 550 to only 5,000, 7,000. So we're ridiculous. So we're going to borrow the good things of Singapore, for example, and make sure we have uh, housing for all Jamaicans, quality housing, not ugly, not dilapidated, quality high-rise housing that allows every Jamaican to become a homeowner. But then now the land, we're going to preserve the land to make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world and make the Jamaican people shareholders in those companies so that they're benefiting from the land. So the land is producing. They might not own it specifically, like own a piece of it for themselves. They'll own shares in some very successful organic capital countries,
Yes.
companies that are producing profits now at a high
Yes.
level, because Jamaica will become the mecca for organic foods, right, for the world. And now the people living in their lovely high-rise building are getting from the farms. Our organic farms will become our oil. That will be Jamaica's oil, right? Our organic farms will be our oil. Yeah.
And that nepotism and cronyism thing now with family pushing family, you're signing
Yes.
over contract, all these things will be a thing of the past.
Gone. I think of the
We're moving
past.
something one man own 100 truck, and then
Yeah.
him sell it under a company and that some decline name, and then
Yes.
making money out of this and making money out of that. Meanwhile, you're sitting in an office. That's
Yes.
supposed to be a prison time. These
The
things need
way
to,
the way you solve these problems, you see, you make
yes,
an example of those at the top.
yes,
So as soon as one of them mess up, whether it's president, vice president, senator, MP, minister, as soon as one of them is found in this, you make sure they pay with the ultimate. You understand? And when you do that now at the top, you see, I love to focus on the top when it come on to discipline. If you
Yes,
discipline those at the top, that will trickle
all
down.
down.
You understand? So when it comes down to economics, the UIC model is this: we must be bottom up when it comes on to economics. So no trickle down economics, bottom up economics.
Oh,
Build the people from the bottom up. When it comes on to corruption and crime, top down. Start with the man them at the top. Those are the ones who are leading the initiatives of corruption. So the people them who are trying to use government as a means to enrich themselves, go after them and make a public example of them. Take away them asset, lock them up, and let people see, boy, the government is serious. And so once you make an example of the leaders, the people will follow suit and say, good, we need to make sure we behave proper. Yes.
I'm going to use it for example. I talked to some people the other day, and I was telling them the same thing, right? If you look, I was living in UK, and when you look in UK, if you look, the structure, you fall in line because you have Prime Minister question time. You would bring that.
Yes.
In
Absolutely.
the government.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Prime
man. You
Minister,
must. Yeah.
your own minister can question you without, with anything.
No victimization. No victimization. No victimization. Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you support Prime Minister question time to ask the Prime Minister, will you that and that? But in Jamaica, the kind of them set it up now. You can't ask the Prime Minister something because you're not loyal.
Yes,
If
exactly.
Then you have to pay the ultimate price.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
I saw a brother on your program recently where he was chastising Mr. Wholeness and others for not being loyal. And I was reading some of the comments of the people on their program, and I said, boy, we're in a bad shape, I see people applauding him. I applaud him for telling us what go on.
Yes.
But in him telling us what go on, he also shows his own moral depravity. You follow me? Because what it shows is that if he was given the privileges given to others, we wouldn't have heard. You understand? So he's not against what is being done. He's against that it is being done to him. So if for example the leadership had continued its corruption but be loyal to him, it would be okay. What he needed to be, however, he needed to be opposed to corruption in all its forms, whether or not he benefited or didn't benefit. But what he's saying, he would love for the Prime Minister to cover up, to defend certain people in corruption because he's going to demonstrate his loyalty. And I think the Prime Minister is loyal to who he wants to be loyal to. Now, we Jamaica don't want this loyalty program. What we want is good governance. What we want is transparency in governance. Cover all, yeah. So we don't want a Prime Minister to cover up for nobody. We want a Prime Minister who is going to follow the laws objectively like any other persons. In fact, a UIC system will make sure the Prime Minister has no more special benefits than any other Jamaican. You see, what people don't understand, when you hire us, when you elect me, for example, as your Prime Minister or President in the future.
You're the chief servant of the country.
Yeah, I'm the chief servant. I'm not there to get special perks and privileges over you. I am, if anything, I must be held to a higher standard.
And that is it.
Yeah, I must be held to a higher standard because of my so-called high position. So I must be above reproach. I should not be one of those persons who are condoning any form of corruption at all in government and giving out special favors and participating in nepotism and bringing in my friends and no. So Jamaica has suffered from having leaders who are more concerned about the loftiness of their position than lifting the nation to a lofty position. Let us focus on lifting Jamaica so that all of us, from president to pauper, will enjoy a quality Jamaica.
Yes. And with the police force again now, police, I mean, police service, because I against this kind of force, and
Yeah.
them need to train over back, and
Totally.
we need customer service, yeah, and
Absolutely.
we need community policing, because we notice the police it's like you have a racism, you
Yes.
like call it classism,
Yes.
because you don't hear them step on you, them boy, them slap you, them do everything. Although them against
Absolutely.
corporal punishment in school or in anything else, but you're a big man and a police drape your boy, knock you out there, and we can't even understand this. We
Yeah,
can't wrap it.
it's a lack of, you see, the police force, because as you rightly said, it's not a police service. And the Jamaica we want is one where you have a police service. But the current police, they take their cues from our leaders, and our leaders have trained them and guided them to look at the Jamaican people like dogs and dirt. You see? So they don't
Subhuman.
so yeah,
Subhuman.
subhuman. So, and they
Yes.
look, and so if you are from the uptown community, then they must
Mhm.
treat you as a particular way. And if you're
Mhm.
from the downtown community, then you can be treated in a subhuman way, right? A
Mhm.
disrespectful way. I remember once,
Mhm.
as a boy, when my brother got into trouble with a girl who claimed that he had a gun. I don't know true or false that was. But
Mhm.
when she said that, the police came to my mother's house and they bang on the grill,
Mhm.
and so she opened it. And when she barely could finish opening, they push her back and drape her up and ask her where her son is. Now, why was it necessary for you? You came to the house, you knock, she
Mhm.
opened. Why did you have to push the grill and push her back? Why did you have to drape her up to ask her where her son is? Why couldn't you just say, Miss Williams, I'm looking for your son. Is he here? And hear what she has to say. And then ask permission. I have a warrant. They didn't have a warrant, by the way. But then,
We have
I
to
have a
ask
warrant.
permission. So if you
Exactly.
said
And
no,
I,
you mean no.
exactly. So
Yes.
instead, they drape her up and then they just barge into the house and search the house. He wasn't there. I was there as a young man. I was young at the time, very, like maybe 16 or something.
That's an
And
assault, A police
of course, yes, they assaulted her.
assault.
Now, the same thing happened again when they arrested me the other
Yes.
day when I had
Yes.
the march.
Yes.
I did the freedom march. And so here it is. We're not doing anything wrong. We have a right to protest.
Mhm.
We have a right to walk on the streets. We have a right to hold up a placard and say we're concerned about something. And
Yes.
these police officers, they followed us around. They brought out the cavalry, right? They brought
Yes.
out so they had horseback, men on bike, men
Oh.
in trucks, men in jeeps, and they put up bars everywhere. And so when we're walking now, they come at us. The police, pushed us. The police, pepper sprayed us. The police, antagonized us. All the time, we are not resisting, we are not
Mhm.
engaged in any form of force, and so on. Then they decided to grab three young people randomly at different points, and not random, because I think they targeted them because they want to make sure that it's people that they think they can manhandle later on, and they'll be
Mhm.
too afraid and whatever. So they grabbed
Mhm.
a young man who was just taking some videos. They grabbed him. Another young man that was dressed so nice then was just there, a part of the protest, walking. They grabbed him. A young lady, they grabbed her, and they manhandled them. And then they came for me, and it's the same thing. I'm not resisting,
Yeah,
and
I watch
they
it.
yeah,
Mhm.
they grabbed me. And when I got to the police station, they were so rude. They boxed my phone out of my hand.
What?
They could say to me, uh you're not allowed to use your phone. Let me have it. Instead, what are you doing? Oh, and bam, my phone dropped. They
You
could
see,
mash.
that's the
Yeah,
problem I have with
yeah.
them.
They could mash up my
Because
phone.
a box of phone and the who
Yeah.
do that, that's
Yes.
supposed to be a charge on him, because him
Of
could have box
course.
your phone, mash up your phone and anything. Police,
That's
when
assault.
policing, you're not
Yes.
supposed to break up my things or do things out of the way
Exactly.
to do police work. It's
Yeah.
wrong.
They stole my microphone. I had a microphone that I was using. I got it. They grabbed it from me and they took it, and I never got it back. Never saw it again. You know.
And that
They-
again wrong.
yeah, yeah. They took me around to the back for the checking in process. They stripped me naked in an open area. You had people
What?
passing and whatever, stripped. Yeah, they did that to us. I mean, it's so inhumane, They are, and guess what? They're out there, they're outside, they're locking up people for not wearing masks. And when I go to the back, none of them are wearing masks.
You see what I'm saying? You cannot be able to stand up to any police because they're breaking the law. The law
Yes.
don't make no sense.
So they're around there in
Yes.
the lockup area, not wearing masks. Inside the lockup where they have all the other
Yes.
persons that they have jailed, it is
Mhm.
dirty. I mean, they have them in it's like every cell is a garbage container. Every cell.
Oh,
It's a dirty, grimy, roach infested. This is where they put us, container,
imagine.
and nobody's wearing masks, by the way. None of the inmates are wearing any mask or whatever. Remember though, they're telling us how important mask is and how important social distancing is. They put 4 of us into one small cell that is about maybe 6
Six by
by
eight.
by
By
8.
eight. Small,
Yeah,
yes.
or
Yes,
less. Yeah.
small. Yeah,
And
or
it's
less.
solid concrete that you're laying on. There's no bedding, just solid, cold, dark,
Inhumane. I'm telling you.
dingy concrete
None of those
with
politicians don't
uh
go in there.
yes,
That's why
man.
they make it feel like that.
Yeah, with
So you like,
dirty rags and dirty cloth, and you have to
mm,
pee. You have to pee in a bottle. Everybody have to pee in a
my
bottle.
gosh.
You
Eh?
understand? So if the bottle full, you know how it go.
And
You
then
see me?
because a young man who came out of something
Yeah.
when said them accuse him of. He told
Yeah.
me that they can't even do certain things, them say your grounds. You will get
Yes,
stabbed up
man.
and everything, them say your
Yes,
ground.
man. Yeah, yeah.
You
It's a
understand?
danger.
But,
It's a listen. They're running. If look at the young men they took up with me, right? These young men
mm,
are decent young men. When you put
mm,
them in there now, and you have other real criminals in there, and you put them in that environment, and whatever happens, many things happen. I must tell you, hats off. I'm gonna for the inmates that I was around. All of these inmates, they were very, very respectful to me.
mm.
They said, "Masiwa, you are the boss. I'm gonna respect it." And so they were. So I was treated very well by the inmates, not by the police. I was treated horribly by the
Wow.
police. No food or water. You understand? You know.
Wow.
Oh, this was serious, man. And I mean, you're so suffered, right? I just took it
Wow.
easy. I mean, I can control myself. I mean, I am as much as you see me looking, I might look polished and whatever. I know how to control myself. I know how
Yes.
to behave. But I was really impressed by how conscious the so-called criminals were that they had in there. They were very polite to me. They asked me what's going on. They said, "Me see where I go on, me hear where I go on, and thing and whatever," and we reason and all that kind of stuff and talk inside here. But the police, they're the ones who are supposed to be enforcing the law, and they break all the laws that they're supposed to
Because
be
because
enforcing.
the law tell you, in the
Yes, man.
Constitution, if a police take you into custody, you're in his care. So I'm
Mhm.
supposed to make sure you're okay. If you
Yes,
forgot
man.
doctor, I'm supposed to carry you to doctor. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to make the arm reach to you.
I know. Yeah. I told
All
them.
these things come in the Constitution.
I
But you
told
don't read
them.
it, I read it. I
Yeah,
read it.
I told them that because when they grabbed me and stuff, they hurt my finger and they hurt my knee in the process when they're stuffing me into the vehicle, right? And so when I was giving you have to give a little report when you're inside of the lockup, and they said, "Do you have any pains or whatever?" And he asked me and just wrote no. I said no, I do have pains. He said, "Well, whatever, man, whatever." I said no.
Swim and talk to you, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, I'm telling you that I have my finger has been damaged and my knee has been damaged when they're pushing me in at the door and the stuff, and because I needed to sign, and I said I'm not going to sign unless you write down what it is. You asked me the question, so I'm telling you, and then you have to write it down, and then I will sign. You understand? And
Yes.
they're so abusive. They're rude.
Oh,
They treat you like you are just subhuman, as you said before.
yes, I mean,
And then the
I'm
man
telling you,
them
if that
strip
don't
you.
change Jamaica, it cannot
Yes.
change.
Yeah.
Big gun, I can tell, look,
Yeah.
you have America who have nuclear. Them build the most arms in the world right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you go America, and when you go America, no care which state you go, you don't see police out drive on with M16.
Just like that.
Them don't
Yeah.
them have sidearm. Even if them are
Yeah.
running down, unless a big thing, them one of them thing if them carry it or drive. You don't see them drive out with P M16 cock up at them door.
Every day, like it's
Every
like
day.
you're at war. You're at war.
Traumatize even the kids them in the ghetto.
Absolutely.
Remember it's board house and zinc fence and these shot a mile of distance. Somebody run, he might run from you. That means you're not trouble. You still fire shot and boat you all 10 zinc kill people.
Exactly.
It's
Kill
wrong.
babies. Kill babies. Kill anybody.
You
So yeah,
understand?
man,
It's wrong.
we don't have a police service. We don't have a government. As I said at the opening of our discussion, the government doesn't care about the people. The government doesn't care about our life, our living standards. That's why the country's so dirty, you know. They keep blaming the citizens and say that we're nasty. The Jamaican people are not nasty. They're cultured by the leaders. So, for example, in a community, the leaders don't make sure that you have regular garbage pickup. So even if the citizens put the garbage in the bin, it's going to be dug out by dogs afterwards or blown out and scattered because you'd have several weeks of garbage piling up in the container. Exactly. And then they blame the citizens. That's the thing. They then try to tell us, and some citizens fall for it and think that is we that are nasty. It's not we go and clog up the water, the drainage. The garbage blows out. It's not cleaned up, and years and years and years of it piles up because we don't have a public works department with trained men and women who are employed normally. Instead, what they do is thief the money and then at Christmas time give out so-called Christmas work haphazard for people to just go chop some bush and clean some drain instead of having
$1 billion.
Exactly.
Impossible in 2 days. Impossible.
Exactly. Instead of and they do this to thief the money. Instead of having a public works department that is equipped and trained to make sure proper waste management, proper street cleaning, daily, normal process of cleaning. Yes. And then
and you spend less.
Of course, exactly.
Enough time less.
Yeah. But then the thing is,
they want some of the truck, some of the garbage. They own a lot of things, and when they're ready, them go pick up and write the check for themselves, make them
exactly
write the check to them company.
Yes, it's all so that they can get a disproportionate amount of the economy. So we the taxpayers must pay tax so that these two parties can steal our taxes, steal the money that they borrow in our name, and then tax us to pay it back. So our roads can't be fixed properly. We can't have proper sidewalks. We can't have proper public. In most communities, you have no public parks. You go across the country, there are no public parks for children to play decently. You have the nice one there in Kingston, in New Kingston, the nice one in New Kingston, just across from the Pegasus, because the Pegasus would want that just across from them, because they want to keep up their product, right? So it's done for them. It's not done for we the people. It's done for them so that they have a nice park. But in the communities like here in Bogue or Elam or Santa Cruz or Shiloh or Balaclava here in St. Elizabeth, nothing for us. The people of Jamaica get nothing. No proper parks, no proper play area for children, no proper sidewalks, no proper street lights at night for you to be able to go to work later to beat your BPO and come home late, and there's light for you to get up to your door or to your gate. None of that, because they do not care. They do not have any respect, and they have no love for the Jamaican people.
Can you imagine you have communities and you have kids growing up there and you don't have recreation? You don't have no field for them to do nothing at all. When them sit down on the sidewalk, them turn gang, the police head telling you they are gangs. When you don't have a football field, you don't have nothing, some zinc fence and thing, and if you stand up here, you're a gang. All of a sudden, them just give your name Lonesome Gang.
Exactly.
Something. And what I noticed with the police, the more gang them can come up with and the name, them get more money.
Yeah.
Police for patrol, money going in our pocket.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed that the Minister of National Security and the commissioner coming to tell us how many gangs there are, and how. So listen, if you know the gangs, them go fix it now. If
Yeah.
you know, why are you coming to tell us about how many gangs there are? Go fix the gangs. No, the truth of the matter is the gangs are there because we have not provided for the people of Jamaica. You understand? What these two parties, remember, these two parties provided income for the gangs. Let's not forget this. They gave the gangs road contracts.
Gully
They gave
cleaning
the
work
gully cleaning work.
and
So
all
it's
these
them.
contracts.
Yeah,
They're
it's
giving
them.
people contract
Yeah. Yes.
who don't even have a clue about. You give
No.
somebody road gully cleaning our road,
Yeah.
7 billion road.
Yeah.
Them don't do not kind of, them don't have a trade, them don't have nothing at all
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
fixing road. But you still them get the contract.
Yeah.
And
So
then
that
them
so that yeah.
out. Money,
Yeah.
that's putting money.
Yeah.
That's
So that when election time comes, those
Mhm.
who you have given the contract, they will go bring in the votes for you. That's how it is designed. It's not designed to make sure the Jamaican people have good roads. If you do an asphalt road properly, a proper asphalted road where you apply civil engineering knowledge to building
Yes.
that road. If you do that, that road is going to last anywhere from 8 to 16 years. The ones that build in Jamaica last anywhere from 6 to 8 months.
That's if it's so long.
Exactly.
Because
As soon as
it's thin like a book sheet, you know.
Exactly. So as soon as the rain fall, as soon as the rain fall, as soon as a little truck drive over it, the whole thing shift. And then before long, you have a big pothole. You know that it's the government. It's the government why we have so many road fatalities in Jamaica.
Of course.
It's the government. And then they're blaming us.
We should have sued them, you know. We should have sued them long time.
Exactly.
But we not sue them because the front end leak out and everything because the infrastructure not fix it. So when you drive and you leak out infrastructure, you leak out the whole front end and you have to fix this. But you touch a little highway, we should have dual carriageway, by the way. We don't call highway.
Yes.
Dual carriageway. But them are and I call it toll road and all kind of thing. A robust.
Yes.
In our third world country. Yeah? Because that's not the whole of the road should have fixed, by the way.
Exactly. That's what the entire thing should be. But instead,
them and charging us.
Yes. They by the way, they sell us because what they've done, the roads are not owned by us. Those toll roads are owned by others. So they've sold us. So
and they've sold. You know, them give land with it, right?
Yes.
Concession.
So
50 years plus much land.
Exactly.
We don't have enough land for our people. You're giving away land to other foreigners.
Listen, why bother to have CAST and UTEC? Why bother to have UTEC and UWI if we can't build our own roads? If we can't build our own hospitals, why have we spent taxpayers' money to send people to school from primary school to high school and then subsidize UTEC and subsidize UA? And then we can't build our own roads. We can't build our own hospitals.
With the law, I'm gonna 12 billion.
Yes, man.
My gosh. Say you subsidize. And then people still have to pay for their money, but you say you subsidize it.
Exactly.
But you still, we now turn out no one day if you come and say, we have some great engineer. We're going to build a road.
Yes.
You know, we have
nothing. Every day, Jamaica becomes more and more of an import nation. Why? Because our capacity to produce, our engineers are less, our innovators are less, our producers are less. That's why we're importing more. That's why now we import onions, we import carrot.
Onion, carrot.
This is pepper. This is sick, and it's
all potato.
Potato.
These are jokes.
And all of this, by the way, let's be very clear. And this is where I have a problem with many Jamaicans. Many Jamaicans don't like honesty, right? Let's be clear. The only reason why we have these problems is because of the two parties that have been in government. They have been in charge of developing our country for 77 years. The first election in 1944 was won by the JLP, by the PNP. The fourth election was won by the PNP. The fifth election was won by the JLP. The sixth election was won. in a position to transition Jamaica from poverty to prosperity. And they have used 77 years to transition Jamaica from hope to hopelessness. That's what they've done.
Hopelessness. Straight hopelessness.
Yeah.
And we need to build it back and get serious. And people
Yes,
must stop vote for handout.
exactly.
And that's serious. Stop vote for handout. Vote for policies.
Yes.
And don't vote for these kind of people. On a serious note, over the years, them come and them tell you something. And when them go in, them come with something different. You can't talk to them.
Yes.
Then them come back and them beg again and you vote and them come back with something different. A time for a change. People are time to make a change.
Yes.
You can't just go along same way. We have about 730 people and the live right now. Yes. And I want you to reach out to them and tell them, them can, a lot of people, them can donation to the party and the upcoming election and everything. Can you give them some rundown on that?
Yes, man. Now, everybody, everywhere in the world, including Jamaica, if you go on our website, uicjamaica.com, and just click on donate, you'll see all the options. You can send via online banking. So click on your thing and say PayPal or whatever, credit card and debit card. You can go to the bank and do it to our credit union, or you can send to a bank account at Scotiabank. It's all there for you. Now, remember, we depend 100% on you ordinary Jamaicans. If we don't fund the UIC, it will not be funded. So don't sit there and just be an observer and say, "May I watch? I hope they win. I hope they win. I hope they win." We can't win without you. You have to donate to the movement. You can even volunteer wherever you are. Right now, we have people forming groups of 12 in Canada, in Florida, in Kingston, in Westmoreland, and they put their group together and then they do their own word of mouth, their own campaigning, and tell people about the movement. And then they adopt a candidate. Some adopt a candidate and then they send the $50, the $100 to help the candidate, because all of our candidates are poor people. Every single one of them are poor people. All of our candidates. They don't have any big sponsors, any big donors. Is ordinary people reaching into their own pockets. So we have to help all of us to be able to make this happen. It's difficult because remember, the other two parties, they're heavily funded by the private sector. But we can do it, and we have been doing it. We have been reaching Jamaicans at the grassroots level by going door to door, community to community, and reaching the people. But we need your help. We need your donation, your $10 a month, your $20 a month. Let's set it up automatic and say every month send $25 to the UIC, or $50 or £20 or £30 or whatever it is. And that will go a long way to help us to reach the Jamaican people. If we can't reach them, we can't give them the message and help them to vote for change.
Okay, good. Some people ask if you have an IG account. Yes, they have IG account.
Yeah, man. Yes, there's Instagram account. There's everything. All the accounts are there. Facebook, Twitter. We're there, and of course YouTube. We have our YouTube TV called UIC Liberty TV. You can go on that and learn. But please see this as your party. When I created the UIC, I made sure that it was a grassroots party. It took us a long time because I said there are big people who would come in. Like there are people out there who would love to use us. They'd love to come and give us some big money and use us to fool the Jamaican people. You understand? But we're not going to allow that. We're going to remain the People's Party, the United Independence Congress. And just to tell you the name, United because we want to unite the country. Independent because we want you to become an independent thinker. Stop being a partisan follower. Become an independent thinker. And Congress, get rid of the party thing and let's come together. Congregate. That's what Congress is. Let us come together and transform Jamaica into what it should be. We need a Jamaica that's safe. We need a clean Jamaica. We need an orderly Jamaica. We need a Jamaica where you can learn, live, and earn in dignity. We need a Jamaica where, let me tell you something, for my diaspora friends, this is important. I must share this with you. One of our policies, two of our policies for the diaspora, very important. Policy number one, we want you to have the right to vote wherever you are. So remote voting. So we're going to give the diaspora the opportunity to vote remotely. Number two, we want to make sure that everybody who wants to return to Jamaica can return duty-free. Bring back everything you own duty-free, even your old car. Whatever it is, you can bring it back duty-free, your house, if you can, of course, your business, your equipment, your furniture, everything. We want to allow you to come back. We believe it's important to roll out the red carpet to our diaspora. You know why? Most of our brilliant people are living outside of the country. The more of them we can get back here, we can raise the human capital of the country and push Jamaica forward. We need you, not just your money. We need your brains. We need your experience. We need your knowledge to come back here and mentor and help us to grow a stronger Jamaica by transferring the wonderful knowledge you have gained around the world. I have been to many countries, Africa, Asia, China, whatever. I've seen that there's much you can learn when you go around the world. Yeah. So let's bring that knowledge back to Jamaica and build Jamaica.
Yes, nice. But before we sign off, though, one more thing I want to ask. Right, after them lock you up, I see a few weeks after, I see the police have a 300 strong march. Yeah, I don't see nobody get hustle or anything like that. But them to write them own march orders and everything.
Yeah, the laws in Jamaica are enforced based on who is doing what, and what the objective is. So in our case, when the UIC led our freedom march, we were seen as a threat to the establishment and the government. When the police had their march, they were not seen as a threat. They're in a different class as far as the powers that be are concerned. So they never saw the need to enforce any DRMA or any public order act where they're concerned. So that's the nature of Jamaica. Very unfair, very poor. But the good thing is we stood with the police. The UIC stood with the police and said it's unfair that they have not been paid wages due to them for 13 years straight. This is unconscionable. And so we stand with the police that they should be compensated for the work that they have done. And it's time we have a government that pays the people what they have earned. And it's wrong. This is categorically wrong for them to have gone 13 years without the back pay that was due to them. It's just wrong.
That's mad. Yeah. All right. Thanks for having you today. And you have to talk again. We have to talk again.
Sure. Anytime.
UIC, people tune in. And you can tell them again, the Facebook.
Yeah, so everything is called UIC Jamaica. So if you want to find us anywhere, just type in UIC Jamaica. It will bring up our Instagram. It will bring up our Twitter. It will bring up our Facebook. Of course, our website is uicjamaica.com. And remember, it's your party. This is the only party in Jamaica that belongs to the people of Jamaica. It's not owned by the church. It's not owned by the private sector organization of Jamaica. It's not owned by any special interest group outside of Jamaica. This is entirely the people's party. So the UIC will go as far as you decide to let us. And I guarantee you that if you should elect the UIC, the first 5 years will make you wonder why we waited 77 years for this. It's going to be the best transformation Jamaica has ever seen. So vote UIC, donate UIC, volunteer UIC, join the UIC.
People, Lonesome endorse it 100%. Yeah, I'm here. All right.
Thank you. All the best.
Have a good day, Mr. Patterson.
Take care. My pleasure. Take care. Good.
Yes, man. That's Mr. Patterson, the president of UIC. Yes, and we're going to carry him. We're going to carry him on the program more often, because them have a local government election coming up. People who have to support UIC need to support UIC. Can just get up and just support and put some egg in a two basket where the country go back where. And I see what's not. We need to support UIC. All right.